Okay, continuing on with the semester in abnormal psychology, we are now on chapter 12, which is personality disorders. It's kind of an interesting chapter. It's kind of an interesting topic, to say the least. We're going to explore it. We're going to explore it from a historical aspect, and then we're going to bring it up to disorders and get an idea of what a personality disorder is. It can be very complicated. Many times, insurance companies do not really care to see a diagnosis with some personality disorder because it's kind of complicated. But before we get there, I have a couple of things I want to visit with you about. One, when we talk about abnormal behavior, we're talking about a degree, starting from minute, very small, to very large. In other words, if we have a behavior, the behavior can be minute, hardly even noticeable. And then it can become quite large, can become very noticeable and really interrupt a work routine. So in the study of disorders, we have to remember that it's one of degree, whether it's a disorder, dysfunctional, atypical, statistically different, abnormality, whatever it is one of degree. Having said this, so often it will be mentioned in my classes when I'm visiting with the students, and I will make a certain comment, and a hand will go up and say, and this is okay that the hand goes up. I'm not criticizing that. Matter of fact, I enjoy seeing the hand go up. But they'll say, well, in this particular instance, this is what happened, or this is what happened to me, so I don't agree with what you said at all. Now, that's okay. The disagreement part, I don't mind. One thing we have to be very careful of is taking one isolated incident and extrapolating it to the entire population. I find myself doing that on occasion. But we have to look at all of the circumstances that's surrounding a particular study, a particular comment, and really be able to comprehend that that may be okay for one particular incident, but it doesn't extrapolate to the entire population. First of all, and I emphasize this over and over, recognize that when we look at these disorders, it's one of degree, and if a person is in some type of area where they are the therapist, the first thing that you want to find out, other than the demographics, of course, is what is the person's agenda. It can make a big difference. So, continuing on with these videos, I want to mention this. These videos will serve as the basis for projects and assignments and in forms as well. So as we go through this, there will be certain areas that will be used in assignments and in forms. Now, a side note. I gotta have a little side note. You notice the pictures behind me. I look at them quite often. And maybe you didn't notice them. Some of them are actually hanging straight, believe it or not. But I dust them, my wife dusts them, and we knock them off kilter a little bit. So if a picture is hanging a little bit at an angle and it bothers you, I guess I'm not going to go there. Okay. I'm sorry that it bothers you, and we'll just leave it at that. But here's the thing with pictures. My wife and I both come to the same conclusion a few years ago, a number of years ago, that really the only thing that we have in this life that is really worthwhile, and it doesn't cost anybody, but is really worthwhile, is the memories that we have accumulated throughout the various experiences that we've had the privilege of being involved in. So this is why we have pictures. My wife has notebooks of pictures, little photo albums of pictures. And I don't know whether I mentioned this before, but now my wife has this particular goal, and it might sound somewhat morbid, but I'm going to say it anyway. She is taking pictures of headstones of family members. And there isn't anything sinister about it. It's just kind of nice. You see the names on these headstones, and I guess it's my saying is kind of nice. I really didn't mean it in that aspect. But anyway, she's taking pictures of headstones. We were out in the state of Washington this past summer taking pictures of headstones. We do other things besides that. We just don't focus our life as, what are you going to do in 5 years? I'm going to be taking pictures of headstones. No, it's not that. It's just a small component of what we are doing. And we're planning on going out to Washington again in the summer of 2015, when we'll have an opportunity to take more pictures. But this is a project. Whether or not a person agrees or disagrees with it, find it morbid, find it ghoulish, find it zombie-ish, I apologize for that. If you find it that way, I don't mean to offend anyone, but anyway, that's an endeavor that, we're both kind of interested in. Okay, continuing on with the class. That might be a personality disorder. I don't know for sure. But continuing on with the class, we have had, and I've been doing a great deal of thinking, and I have done a great deal of thinking about this, is that so often a class is based on, not so often, but always, in some aspect, is based on Bloom's cognitive taxonomy. And this is starting out with the knowledge of a concept, going to comprehension, application, analyzing, synthesis, and evaluation. Now, I've already mentioned this. I know that. You don't have to remind me of that. But what we are going to do for the rest of the semester is look at analyzing, synthesizing, and evaluation. Now, knowledge, comprehension, and application of what's considered the lower order thinking skill. Analyzing or analysis, synthesizing, and evaluation are the higher order thinking skills. Going to, as far as I can, sure, we're going to go down into 1, 2, and 3, but as far as I can, I want to stay in 4, 5, and 6. And I'm going to emphasize this, folks. In these forums, they have due dates. You've got to get the due dates in if you want to. That is your choice in order to have this course go along smoothly. Okay. Personality disorders. Well, let's back the clock up. Matter of fact, let's back the clock up to around 400 BCE. Sometimes I forget to put that E on the end of it, and I just say 400 BC. Politically incorrect now. But anyway, we're going to back it up. And we're going to look at just what has happened. And one thing I want to look at is, and it's kind of interesting, because we're talking about the power of 4 and a perfect 10. Now, I have a tetrarchy here, and if it's not all displayable on the screen at once, yeah, I have it on the screen at once. There's 10 items here. If you bold, you recognize that this is the position that the pins are in. And what this does, it represents a life. Now, we have the 1 up on top. We just have 1 up on top here. That can represent the Godhead. Then we have 2. That could be male, female, light, darkness, sperm, egg, this type of thing. Then we have 3 across here. That represents the past, present, and future, or mind, body, and soul. And then the 4 across here, and this is what is interesting because we're talking about the power of 4. And these 4 across here represents personality. And as far as the personalities are concerned, we have 4 north, east, west, south, 4 seasons, 4 elements, fire, air, water, and earth, 4 horsemen, 4 gospels, 4 ages, childhood, youth, adulthood, old age. So we have a history here. These individuals were talking about this. And looking at Hippocrates in about 370 BCE, he came up with 4 humors. And I want to look at this just a little bit, look at the 4 humors. And we have here 4 fluids, and they correspond to 4 different types of personality. And what is interesting, these are even used today. Now we have sanguine, choleric, phlegmatic, melancholic, blood, yellow bile, phlegm, black bile, spring, summer, winter, and autumn, air, fire, water, and earth. Okay, what we have here, you see all of these 1s correspond, all of these 2s correspond, all of the 3s correspond, and all of the 4s correspond. So this is the history that individuals recognized many years ago, that there was a difference in people. And this is what I want to emphasize. It has a history. First from the tetrarchy, which is a perfect 10. And what is interesting about that is, how many personality disorders do we have? 10.